I think it is a tragedy of the first proportion that a private corporation can be subjected to what I would characterize as a shakedown. In this case, a $20 billion shakedown. I apologize.
Remember when Congressman Joe Barton apologized to BP earlier this month? I think I actually said on the air, pinch me, when it looked like Democrats were actually going to recognize that for the huge political mistake that it was. But Democrats did. They were all over it.
I think that Mr. Barton's comments fit comfortably among the leadership of the Republicans in the House of Representatives. People in the Gulf are suffering from BP's negligence and recklessness. Republicans in Congress are apologizing to BP.
Democrats were all over the Joe Barton thing. They were super eager to put those comments into an electoral context, this is how Republicans govern context. Pinch me indeed. Well, yesterday we had another huge political error committed by a leading Republican. And again, the question was, will the famously ever hapless Democrats realize that they could take advantage of this one, too? It was an interview with the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review that came out yesterday when John Boehner, the top Republican in the House, referred to the giant financial crisis that we're all still living through as a tiny little ant. And that Wall Street reform to address that crisis, he said, would be like killing an ant with a nuclear weapon. Who needs reform? Stop overreacting. In that same interview, Mr. Boehner said Republicans want to raise the retirement age for Social Security to 70, and he demonstrated on tape that he has absolutely no idea what the deepwater oil drilling moratorium is. He honestly seemed to just not understand it. Would Democrats, in this case, after another Republican failure like this, would Democrats be able to step into the yawning breach in the political fabric? Would they be able to capitalize on this unforced error? It turns out that they will. I am not an inside the beltway enough person to know who exactly gets credit for the fact that Democrats are all over this stuff all of a sudden, but Democrats are all over this stuff all of a sudden. Within hours of the financial crisis is an ant quote being published yesterday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office responded, quote, "An ant, Mr. Boehner? It was the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. Americans lost 8 million jobs and $17 trillion in retirement savings and net worth." Today, President Obama also took his best shot.
The leader of the Republicans in the House said that financial reform was like, I'm quoting here, using a nuclear weapon to target an ant. That's what he said. He compared the financial crisis to an ant. This is the same financial crisis that led to the loss of nearly 8 million jobs. Same crisis that cost people their homes, their life savings. He can't be that out of touch with the struggles of American families. And if he is, then he's got to come here to Racine and ask people what they think.
President Obama during a campaign-style town hall event in Wisconsin today. In addition to the president and the Speaker of the House pouncing on John Boehner's disastrous interview yesterday, the Democratic National Committee already rushed out this web ad highlighting Mr. Boehner's comments. Democrats are actually responding to a political opportunity all at once, all in the same direction, almost like they're trying to win the elections this year or something. Remember, the whole idea for Republicans right now heading toward the elections is don't have anybody talk about you, ever. Keep your head down, Republicans. Just try to keep the focus on the Democrats. If Republicans are able to do that, anything anybody is dissatisfied with in the whole country can conceivably translate to a no vote against the guys in charge. A no vote against the Democrats. Republicans would benefit by default. That's all Republicans have to do, and so far they can't do it. So here comes the real challenge for Democrats. Can Democrats turn that into not just electoral gains in the fall, but can they actually turn it into political gains right now, by which I mean policy gains? Right now, Republicans in the Senate are filibustering extending unemployment benefits for people who are out of work. This week, Senate Republicans filibustered funding for homeless veterans with kids. Republicans right now are demanding special favors for their home industries in the Wall Street reform bill. I'm talking to you, Scott Brown. And then still saying they'll vote no on it because what? They don't want to ban bailouts? Republicans on day 72 of the BP oil disaster are all standing up against changing the nation's energy policy. They're all against it. Cheney's policy is apparently working great, if you ask them. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who used to be in favor of changing energy policies, now, in the face of this huge oil disaster, is now advising President Obama to scrap the whole idea, or at least aim lower. All of these things can be seen as Capitol Hill news, legislative battles, strategic issues in Congress. Or they can be national political hay for Democrats. Democrats, if you are able to make political hay here, you stand both to win the elections and you highlight to the public the politically toxic positions Republicans are taking on all those issues I just listed. And that will allow you to peel off some Republicans from those policy positions, which will allow you to pass your chosen policies. You will do well, in other words, by doing good. Now, I'm an optimist about the country. I'm an optimist about the American people and the universe in general. But because I am a liberal, I am a pessimist about Democrats and their propensity to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. But they did move on the Joe Barton, I apologize to BP opportunity, and they did move on the John Boehner, the financial crisis is an ant opportunity. Could they keep doing it? Have they established an actual aggressive we want to win pattern here? Pinching anybody? Pinching? New York Times columnist Frank Rich joins us next.